So in this video, I'm going to show you how a Realtor was able to make $1 million in 5 days using my strategy in 2026. And it's very, very simple. If your income depends on one market, one location, or one industry, you're exposed, especially if you're in real estate. One of my mentees, a realtor in the US, generated $1,042,703 in the first 5 days of 2026 with an e-commerce brand we built from scratch. Now, get this. They had no prior e-commerce experience. They were not an influencer, so they didn't have a big audience, and neither were they gambling or trying to throw different things at the wall and open one stick. Now, this wasn't about chasing trends. It was about engineering certainty. So in this video, I'll break down exactly how we did it, why this model works, and why more high-income professionals are quietly moving this way. So now let's talk about him, just so you have an idea, right? He's a successful realtor, has good commissions, looks set from the outside, but behind the scenes, there was too many volatility. From the interest rates to inventory swings, the market cycles he couldn't control. And here's the problem. His income was tied to being in one place. So that made sure he had no flexibility, which meant no freedom to travel and also no leverage if the market slowed down. And he didn't want to quit real estate, he wanted insurance. Now, this is what nobody tells high income earners. When your income depends on one lever, even a good one, you're vulnerable. So the smartest people don't wait for downturns, they edge. And that's why he came to me. Now, he wasn't looking for motivation. He wanted a system. For context, I have sold 2 brands for $128 million. I have ThePhnyxWatches that has 750,000 people on the wait list looking to buy the watches. We also have over 250,000 followers for ThePhnyxWatches on Instagram alone. So this plus other case studies, like I have testimonials from students who have learned from me that you can find on my Instagram page, ecom with Abdul. So all of this was proof enough for him to say, hey, okay, you're the person I want to learn from, right? So instead of telling him to find a product, I introduced the drop model, right? One thing about the drop model is, so the drop model is not based on hustling, also based, right? It's market engineered, right? And if you've watched any of my videos before, you would know that the drop model is one, D means demand, R means reservation, and then O means offer elevation, right? And P is for product drop, right? And so all of this are crucial for you to understand, right? And this is exactly how brands sell out on day one. And it takes out the entire guesswork, right? By focusing more on control, right? So the first thing we did was make sure that, okay, yes, we had the demand, right? Before the product exists. Now the old way would tell you, yeah, run ads, test multiple products. They tell you, yeah, run ads, test multiple products, and pray one sticks, right? But for us, we go completely different from that, right? Which is the new way. The new way. With the new way, it's simple. First, we find competition, right? We find what is already working, what the market is already spending money on. We then improve on our own messaging. We make sure that, yes, we can create something better or have a better marketing angle than the competition. And then we test for demand, right? Before we even go fully into touching inventory. And only when we get that do we now test for market signals and also people's emotional response, right? If we can't get enough emotional response from the market, there's no reason for us to go ahead and sell in the industry. We wouldn't, right? And that alone eliminates most e-commerce failures, right? Which then leads us to the next aspect of this, right? Which is reservation, right? And this way we're able to generate proof before selling the product, right? How we do that is getting people on wait lists. So once we test and we see that, oh yeah, our messaging is working, right? People are showing interest in this thing. We then get them on the wait list, right? This way, we're getting people to show intent. And when people are showing intent, it's only does one thing. It lets us know, okay, cool. People are willing to spend money on this. And by them being on the wait list, this is not an email spam, right? This is people giving us permission to be notified. And at this stage, sales are already decided. They just haven't happened yet. And I'll give you an example. Like the biggest brands in the world, they don't go ahead and create products and then look for customers. No, they find customers first and then create products to satisfy the demand that the customers have, right? An example is what we also do here at ThePhnyxWatches, right? My watch brand, we create quad watches, right? Not even mechanical watches or anything like that, but we could, if we sold just as a regular watch brand, we wouldn't have the success that we have right now. But we tested to see, hey, do people want this thing, right? Before I spent any amount of money on inventory whatsoever, we tested, hey, do people want this thing? We looked at the competition. We have the Rolex, we have the Audemars Piguet, right? We have the Richard Mille, we have the Cartier watches, and the FP Jean, and we're like, oh, if I'm going to sell this thing, how can I create a better messaging that would get people interested in what it is that I'm selling? And then how can I generate an emotional response from the market, right? We had people that were like, oh yeah, this looks like a knockoff of Audemars Piguet. We had people that were like, yeah, I'll not spend my money on that. And then we had people that were like, yeah, we would spend money on that, and so would like to join the wait list. And that was how we were able to get people on the wait list. And it was the same process that I applied for this mentee of mine, which then leads us to the next phase, which is offer elevation, right? Now, the mistake most people do is they compete on price. But we didn't race to the bottom. We engineered what we call SPA, right? Which is scarcity. We engineered scarcity, positioning, and authority, right? The SPA, right? By creating for this person's brand, because it wasn't super high ticket, we decided that we're only going to be producing 30,000 units per drop, right? And by doing this, people knew that, oh shit, we can't always have access to this every time, right? And by creating this, we engineered the demand, right? And that also made us stop being seen as just a commodity. If you want to buy it, you have to, get on the wait list. And that lends itself into the authority of us being seen as a market leader, right? So when demand meets restriction, price stops being the objection, right? And only when all of this is happened do we now do the last aspect of this, which is the product drop, right? We do the product drop and we release to a primed audience. And guess what? By leveraging this, we were able to make, I'm just gonna put this here. We were able to make 1,042,703 US dollars, right? We're able to make this in 5 days. 5 days. Think about that for a minute. We're able to make that with high margins, high profit, and with total control, right? And so you can see here on the screen that we made $1 million in 5 days. Nearly $900,000 was net profit. And we only spent $50,000 on ads. So this wasn't a fluke. This was structure, right? And this isn't just one story. People like Frank have this to say about learning from me.
I've been in Ecom Accelerator for a couple months now, and my experience has been great. Abdul doesn't hold any information back, and it's been amazing. He answers any questions. You can just tell by the way he speaks that there's nothing held back. It's one of the best investments you can make if you've been sidelined or if you're thinking about getting into it. He is probably one of the only people in the e-commerce industries that is teaching you everything that made him all the money he has right now. What else can you ask for? And being part of this community is going to lead to your success.
Tamara has this to say about learning from me.
Joining your accelerator course, this was a time, if I'm going to try it, to be the time to do it now. And under the proper guidance, I felt like, I could do it. It was that confidence that I had in myself and also the confidence I had in you and your community. So now that I'm in the community, it's been amazing. Everyone has been so sweet, so supportive. Every week we have two virtual Zooms with Dennis, of course, and that has been great. I've learned a lot through Dennis. And then, of course, our Sundays with you, where you're always energetic, always sharing stories, very passionate person. And I think that is just something I'm always looking for. No need to be on the fence. Dive right in, and you're going to see that it's so worth it. So definitely do it.
And Tiffany came to me for the same process that I've explained here.
So it's been wonderful, actually. When you were talking about selling the company at the end, it's like an end goal for you to make as much money as possible. So this way you could sell it for as much money as possible. That was also good to realize, that this is not just about running a company now. It's about getting this company sold at the end. Yeah, I would recommend 100%. It's a great move.
They wanted predictability, leverage, control. So this isn't about e-commerce. It's about optionalities. When your income isn't tied to one place, you move differently, you travel differently, you negotiate differently, and you also live differently. And that is the real freedom. So get this, I don't work with everyone. This isn't for dabblers or people chasing some side hustles. But if you're a high-performing professional who wants leverage without chaos, there's a link below to book a call, right? We're going to assess if the drop model fits you, identify where your income is exposed, and then build a controlled execution plan. If it makes sense, we move forward. If not, you leave clearer than before. Either way, you stop relying on one market. Now, in this video, I'll show you exactly how making $100,000 a month is easy when you use my strategy. That said, I'll see you in the next video.